Yo guys, it has almost been a year since Godly has been added to Anime Last Stand, you know, with the first being My Glory's King, Escanor. So yeah, currently there are 9 Godlies in the game, and today I'll be doing a tier list for all of them, okay? Do keep in mind that every unit in this tier list is indeed meta, alright? If they were in a normal tier list, they will all be in the meta tier or like the Z+, whatever, the highest tier. So yeah, no bad Godlies, no bad unit is tier. I'll just basically be ranking them from what in my opinion is the worst to the best, but they're all good, okay? Do keep in mind this is just my opinion, so it is not 100% true to everybody. And with that, let us get straight into the number 9th spot. Alright, so at the number 9 spot, and what I consider is the worst Godly in the game, we got okay, so MUI Goku. Honestly, the rework butchered this unit. Okay, this unit would have been higher, but the rework they gave him made him kind of bad. This is his passive, his team passive, whatever. You do 30% more damage to bosses, which is okay, I guess. I can see him being used in like boss rush game modes and all. And these are his passives: the Protector of the Universe and Master of Adaptation. I guess both passives are okay. They're not the best. I guess the Master of Adaptation is pretty good, as you can get a lot of buff from this, like 60% attack, like 60% range when he fully procs this passive, which is alright, I suppose. And once you max him out, he gains 2 different abilities: Owned Body, which is one of the most broken abilities in the game, and his second ability, Final Energy Bomb, is just a very insane nuke. You can do up to 400 billion damage based on your charge count, but the bad thing about this ability is the fact it can only be used once. It's a one-time use ability, okay? It's so bun, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I put him lower in the list, because I don't... Spoiler alert, there are nukes that can be used multiple times and do more damage than this, okay? Up later on in the list. So yeah, that's why it's kind of lower in the list, but he's still a very good unit. He has a broken ability. The Honed Body, I think, is the better ability out of the 2. And yeah. Alright, so at the number 8 spot, we got My Glorious King. My first glitch Godly. My Glorious Glitched Ichigo. Yes, sir. The reason why I put him here is, number 1, because of his team passive, as you can see here. Cancels elemental disadvantages, alright? I can see this being very useful in the future, and it has a lot of investment value. So yeah. And number 2, he is the cheapest Godly you can place down, I believe. Yeah, he can only cost 1,000 to place down, and he is also an insane DPS, alright? He has Getsuga Tensho every 5th attack. He has 75% chance to deal a follow-up attack. And he also has 2 other passives that synergizes with other units. And if you have them in your team, he can become very insane. And when you max him out, as you can see here, 424 million damage with a 7-second SPA. And keep in mind, although I do have glitch on him, I do not have Glorious, okay? I have Hex on him, so his stats is not as good. And when you max him out, he also gains this ability called True Kai Release. And this is a very pretty broken ability, as you can see here. When you use it, his DPS is actually cracked out when you use his on his last upgrade. So yeah, that's the reason why he's up here. He's a good DPS. He has an insane team ability. He's also pretty cheap to upgrade. I think he's the cheapest Godly you can upgrade right now. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, very good Godly. And with that, we move on to number 7. So, at the number 7 spot, we got the first ever Godly introduced to the game, My Glorious King, Escanor. So yeah, this is Escanor's team passive thingy here. 30% more damage for like fire type units. And these are his passives, the One and Sin of Pride. Both passives are actually pretty insane. The one basically gives him 150% damage, and the other one just buffs fire type units. So what I realized with Escanor is I think they reworked him to make him cater around fire type units. And yeah, when you max him out, he is actually pretty insane. As you can see here, he is full AoE, hybrid, and he applies Sunburn. And this is one of the best like effects in the game. It burns the units and also slows them down, which is crazy. And on his final upgrade, he gains an ability called the One Ultimate. With this ability, when you pop it, for the next 60 seconds, he becomes the best unit in the game. I'm not even joking, bro. When you use this ability, Escanor gains like 50% damage. He gains a new passive, as you can see here, basically another burn, and he gains a huge range buff, and he's just insane. But the bad thing about his ability is after those 60 seconds is up, he becomes useless, okay? He becomes paralyzed for the next 120 seconds and does nothing. Just look at him here, bruh. This is him after his ability. Absolutely useless. So yeah, Escanor is the unit that is catered around fire units. I hope they add better fire units in the future so he becomes better. But yeah, for now, I think he's pretty good at number 7. So yeah, with that, let us move on to the number 6 spot. Alright, at the number 6 spot, we got a time-stopping man himself, Dio Overheaven. Yes, sir. So, this is Dio's team passive ability thingy. It gives you more duration for your debuffs on enemies, which is pretty good. And this is how he is when he's maxed out. So he has an effect called Accelerate, which just decreases DOT proc time by 10%, and these are the 2 abilities he gets when he's at max level. Road Roller, which is basically a small nuke and time stop that you can use frequently. It has a 35-second cooldown, which is pretty insane actually. And his second ability is Overheaven Special. It time stops all enemies for 1 minute, and enemies killed during this minute gets brought back to life with 100% of their max HP. Very broken ability, okay? He also has 2 different passives, but honestly, these passives are kind of mid, okay, in my opinion. They don't really give him that much of a boost or anything. Just small buffs, but yeah, that is the Overheaven. With that, let us move on to spot number 5. Alright, so at the number 5 spot, we got the Monkey King himself, Jin Mori. Yes, sir, Wukong. So, this is Wukong's passive ability, which is basically the best godly ability in the game currently, okay? 100% ability damage to your team. So, what this does is simply, let's take Luffy for example, okay? Luffy has a nuke that does 150 billion damage. If Jin Mori is in your leader slot, he now does 300 billion damage with the nuke. Do you see how broken this is, okay? When Jin Mori is fully maxed out, this is how he is like, and honestly, it is not the best, okay? Out of all the godlies, he might be the worst DPS wise, okay? Actually, maybe better than Goku, but he's not that good DPS wise. He has 2 passives over here. The Monkey Sage makes him have clones, and the other one basically just buffs the first passive and can also buff your allies by a little bit. He also applies Bolt on his attacks, which is pretty good, I suppose. And yeah, that is Wukong. I put him here mainly because of his passive. It's just too good. And yeah, with that, let us move on to number 4. So, at the number 4 spot, we got the newest godly himself, Cosmic Garou. Yes, sir. So, this is Garou's passive godly thingy. It is pretty good. It buffs crit rate for your units 50% every 5th attack, which is kind of insane, actually. So, Garou is basically just a pure DPS unit. He's probably the best DPS in the game right now, okay? He has a lot of abilities, a lot of passives, and I'm not going to be going through all of them. So, here they are if you want to read them by yourself. He basically has 2 different modes when he reaches the final upgrade, and when you use either one, he just becomes a monster, okay? Both modes are broken, though I think Cosmic is a little bit better. But basically, he does big damage. The bad thing about him is he's too expensive and he has a very high SPA. He probably has the highest SPA amongst like many units, okay? I don't really see this guy being used as much in normal game modes. He's only useful in like infinite and like high wave game modes, as he's very broken in these game modes, right? He's probably the best infinite unit. But other than that, I don't see him being used in like story, legend stages. So yeah, a very good DPS unit, but he's just a little bit too expensive. And with that, we move on to the big 3. The big 3, in my opinion. Entering the big 3, we got the King of Pirates himself. Oh my god! Yes, sir. So this is Luffy's godly buff leader slot thingy. It is actually pretty insane. He slows down enemies permanently and they take 5% more damage, which is insane, okay? I think this is the second best godly buff behind Jin Mori's one. And yeah, Luffy is a very insane unit. This is how he is when he's maxed out. He has 2 abilities when he's maxed out. Imagination is a pretty insane ability. It gives him the random effect, just like Grammy, and it lasts for a pretty long time. And his second ability, Ultimate Gun, is very insane ability that I use a lot to complete the new, Extreme Boost game mode. And he also has 2 passives called Cartoon Logic and Liberating Drums. Overall, an insane unit. The value with him is his team buff and his huge nuke. And yeah, that is Luffy, bro. Amazing unit. And with that, we move on to the top 2. Alright, at the number 2 spot, we got the King of Curses himself, my glorious King Sukuna. Yes, sir. So this is Sukuna's godly leader buff ability. It reduces cooldown for abilities by 20%. It's kind of mid, in my opinion, okay? But when you max him out, boom! He is very insane. He applies the Dismantle effect, which is probably the best effect in the game damage-wise. 220% damage for the next 6 seconds. Crazy! And when you max him out, he has 2 abilities. The first ability is the Gacha ability. As you can see here, if you're lucky, it can do 500 billion damage. Insane. And the second ability is Malevolent Shrine, and it's a 500 billion nuke. Yup, insane unit. And yeah, that is Sukuna. He's an insane DPS unit. I'm not gonna lie, might be better than Garou if I'm not wrong. But yeah, he has two very insane abilities, good passives. And yeah, with that, we move on to our obvious number one guy. I think you know who it is. Let's go. And at the number one spot, we got My Glorious King. So yeah, Jin-Woo. I don't know what Bobak was doing in there, but yeah, Jin-Woo is the best unit in the game. I think so. Yeah, he's just way too good. Okay, look at this. At his final upgrade, he applies Hemorrhage on his attack. Very broken effect, and yeah, he somehow just has 5 units on him, bro. Bro, this unit is basically 5 units. He's a 5-in-1 unit. He spawns 4 shadows at his max upgrade, bro. It's crazy, alright? And these shadows are not weak either, bro. Look at how much damage they have. Like, Aegis has 20 million. This guy has like 20, 30, 40. All of them are pretty good. And all of them also apply like their own effects. Like, this guy burns, he inflicts fear. All of these summons are insane too. And they're very cheap to upgrade. On max upgrade, Jin-Woo also has an ability. This ability is okay, I suppose. It's pretty good though. It does 20 billion damage. It stops time as well, which is crazy. And he also buffs himself. Pretty cool. He has 4 different passives and all of them are very good, but I want to focus on especially this one here, Shadow Extraction. Bro, this is probably the best passive in the game by far, alright? In high HP game modes, when this passive procs, the unit summon just have ridiculous amounts of HP. Just take a look at this, bro. This is the new Extreme Boost game mode, and yeah, the summons have like 5 billion HP, 15 billion. Bro, that's a whole nuke right there, bro. Yeah, this passive makes this unit very insane, and all the other passives are also good, like this one here, Permanent Slow. Wow, amazing. And yeah, overall, he's just an amazing unit. He's hybrid, he applies Hemorrhage, he has his own units. He's a 5-in-1 unit, which is crazy. And yeah, that is why he is number 1 on this list, and why I think he's the best godly in the game. So yeah, that is the end of the video. This is the list, if y'all are wondering. So yeah, let me know, this is a W or L list. Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace. Took her Paris, then she took her